Hello and welcome. Game 2 from White House Field, a little overcast after the Mariners beat the Commodores 1-0 in Game 1. David Korzanowski joined alongside Danny LaRose as pitch number 1 from Carson Seymour, the transfer from Dartmouth to Kansas State, misses upstairs to Hayden Cantrelle, batting from the left side of the plate. Swing and a miss for strike 1, count even. Cantrelle struggled in game number 1, 2 strikeouts and a flyout. 0 for 3, but the Commodores as a whole struggled offensively with mustering just 3 hits. Seymour delivers, swing and a miss, strike 2.
Yeah, Falmouth now with not a lot of hits over their last couple of games. Only 7 hits yesterday, and that seems like a lot, but only 2 runs, 3 hits in game 1. Really need these bats to wake up.
Half swing from Cantrelle. He went around, and Cantrelle sits back down, his 3rd strikeout in his last 4 at-bats. More on Seymour, the starting pitcher for the Harwich Mariners. As we mentioned, he's a transfer from Dartmouth. He pitched only 7 innings in 2018. 7 walks and 2 Ks. He made his collegiate debut against Georgia Tech and spent last summer in the Hamptons League. Trey Cruz swings and misses at the fastball, and he's behind 0-1. Danny, let's keep talking about Harwich pitching because they were outstanding in the first game.
Yeah, I mean, Logan Allen, he just is a stud. There's nothing else about it. 10 strikeouts. He continues to shove against Falmouth, allowing only 4 hits in total against them across 2 games. So he continues to be great, and the players said it themselves. The stuff is just too much to deal with.
Joe Boyle came in for the save as well. He looked impressive. Cruz swats 1 foul. 1-2 your count. A lot of fans here for game 1. It was slightly overcast and in the mid-60s. Temperature dipping now. Wind is whipping, and the fans are clearing out. There is a little bit of rain in the forecast, but we'll see if that can wait for a couple hours. The 1-2 upstairs. Seymour has been high in these first 2 at-bats.
It was a really quick turnaround because that first game was so fast. 7 innings, of course, and then we're already underway at about 5 p.m., and I know they scheduled it for 5, but rarely do they ever actually get it in time.
Curveball misses up. As the umpires have shifted, Joe LaBella now behind the plate. Doug Isham is actually behind the plate. Joe LaBella at first, and Mike Williams at third. Foul back into the screen.
With such a quick turnaround, I feel like that gives the pitchers an edge because especially a guy like Seymour or for Falmouth, it's Strickland. They're kind of preparing all day. They don't sit back, start eating, start
Right.
getting their mind off of things, and all of a sudden they're back into things. Whereas these hitters kind of did that. They transitioned from one game to another with not a lot of break, and now all of a sudden back up to the plate.
Seymour delivers a nice fastball at the knees. Cruz stays alive and fouls it out of play. The count now 3-2. Carson Seymour, rising junior at Kansas State, but as we mentioned, had to sit out 2019 due to NCAA transfer rules. Half swing, and it was strike 3 at the knees. Trey Cruz didn't love the call and goes back to the dugout.
Yeah, it's a close one, knee high, and that's when you probably have to go and swing at, just because with 2 strikes, the strike zone's going to widen just a little bit, and it was beautifully thrown fastball inside, knee high. Tough one to take for Cruz, but looks like Seymour so far is really hitting his spots.
The Doors struck out 11 times in game 1. Twice here to start game number 2. Remember, the top of the first inning in game number 1 was a perfect inning worked by Allen with 3 Ks. Austin Langworthy takes a big cut and comes up empty 1-1. Langworthy playing left field again. Cruz and Cantrelle, the 2 batters who started off this game, switch spots. So Cantrell's at second, Cruz is at short. Cleanup is Jackson Coutts getting his first start and designated hitting. Strike 2 curveball at the belt. Steven Moretto staying at the 5 spot and at third base. Blake Dunn moves out to right field. Ben Casparius hitting 7th, playing first. Sean Harrington will catch his 2nd game in a row at the 8 spot. And Deloach will get his first start at center field. Ground ball over towards second. Fedko has some trouble with it, but gets it to Seymour in plenty of time. A 1-2-3 inning worked by Carson Seymour. The Mariners pitchers have been hot, and they carry the momentum into Game 2. We'll be back with the bottom of the first. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
Cam Thompson will bat leadoff for the second game in a row, and getting his first start on the bump wearing the maroon and black is Sam Strickland from Samford University. He winds back and delivers. Ball inside and low. Cam Thompson was 0 for 3 in game 1. And Strickland, recent arriver to the Cape, rising junior at Samford, fires a strike at the knees, 1-1.
Sam Strickland, a native of Birmingham, Alabama, so plays in state, coming off a year where he had a lot of success. Throws the ball outside right here. Went 7-3, a 4-flat ERA, 69 2/3 innings pitched, only walked 20. Did give up 10 home runs, so the long ball was a little bit of trouble for the lefty.
Strickland shakes off Harrington and delivers high. Sean Harrington will be icing the knees after today's game.
Oh, yeah.
Playing catcher is a very physically demanding position, and he's starting games 1 and 2. Strickland from the windup, rears back, and this one lifted into left center field. In and making the catch is Langworthy, who's out in left. We'll take you around the defense for the Commodores. Langworthy in left. Deloach, Zach Deloach from Texas A&M getting his first start and playing center. Blake Dunn in right. Infield from right to left, Moretto, Cruz, Cantrelle, and Casparius, and Sean Harrington behind the plate. Cam Thompson just flew out to lead off the game. Now Chris Galland steps in, and he swings at the first pitch. This should get down. It'll one hop in front of Deloach. And Galland, who had a hit in the first inning last game, keeps the trend going in game 2.
He's been looking really good. We know he's got plenty of speed, still 2 bases, but he's swinging a good bat too. Line drive hits, jumping on pitches early in counts, which, hey, why give the opposing pitcher a chance to throw you some of his best stuff? If you're getting a first pitch fastball, take a hack if it's in the zone. That's what he's been doing.
Makes him an even 6 for 15 and puts his clip at 300. Bobby Seymour will step in batting third. On deck is a teammate of his down in Winston-Salem, Chris Lanzilli, designated hitting. Then Joey Weimer, the hero of last game with the solo shot, batting fifth and playing center, followed by Michael Ludwig in right at the 6th spot. Ball 1 misses just below the knees to Seymour. And rounding out the order, Patrick Winkel getting his first start in 2019 and catching. Christian Fedko playing second, batting 8th. And Brian Dempsey will get the start at short in game 2. Hard hit ball, and it'll get past Cantrelle at second base. Galland will go all the way to third. Deloach misplays it out in center. Seymour will stay at home, but coming around to score is Galland. No throw to the plate, and Harwich quickly up 1-0.
Welcome to Cape Cod, Zach Deloach. First chance of on either side of the ball for him out in center field, and he makes a blunder already. Lets it go right through him, and that is why coming from first and scoring is Galland. He was running on the pitch, ended up at third, and then quickly hustles home well in front of the throw. Something that we see pretty often is center fielders misplaying ground balls in the outfield on the Cape. I don't usually see it often during the school season, but then it seems to happen more and more frequently here, and Deloach is the victim there.
So it's ruled an error, E8 on your scorecard. Strike one to Lanzilli on the outside black. Bobby Seymour continues to mash. He had a hit in game one. Back-to-back singles for hitters 2 and 3, and scoring on the error was Galland, so it is an unearned run. Lanzilli fends one off. He's down 0-2. Strickland, an imposing figure, 6'2", 225. His dad is in town for Father's Day to watch his first start of his son's Cape career. Lanzilli misses and goes down by way of the K2 down.
Good response by Strickland. Doesn't let the hits get to him. He let up back-to-back hits. Doesn't let the errors get to him. He settles in and throws 3 straight pitches and gets the 4-hitter. So that's not a bad response. Now he's going to have a tough face with Joey Weimer up against him. Of course, Weimer was the lone RBI man last game.
Nice pitch from Strickland in the outside part of the plate. Weimer 3 for 10 this summer. His biggest hit was the difference in game one. This is a high fly ball into left field. Langworthy has a read on it. He trots under it and makes the catch with his right hand. The Harwich Mariners strike first here in the first inning. They score 1 run on 2 hits, 1 error for Falmouth, and a runner left on base. We head to the top of the second. 1-0 Mariners. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
Jackson Coutts will start things off for the Doors here in the top of the second. It's Coutts, Moretto, and Dunn due up for Falmouth. Seymour worked quickly in inning number 1, but misses outside to Coutts. Coutts came in a pinch-hitting situation in game 1 of the season against Harwich. We have a late appeal down to the third base umpire, Mike Williams. He says he did not go around. 1-0. Seymour from the windup delivers strike 1 at the knees. Nice pitch with the fastball. Jackson Coutts from the University of Rhode Island. He had a short stint with the Wareham Gatemen last summer, the 2018 CCBL champions. That ball will hit Coutts on the right cleat, and he'll trot down to first.
Yeah, it's kind of a gift. Looked like it skipped in the dirt right as it hit the base of his foot. That's one that doesn't hurt at all, but you'll take every single day because Coutts now on base. And we know that the Doors struggling so much with base runners in the past couple of days. A base runner can make or break your inning. So now if they can just advance Coutts a couple bases, anything can happen. And Stephen Moretto is the guy at the plate. He's the guy you want at the plate with runners on.
The Doors only put the leadoff runner on once in game 1. Seymour will pitch from the stretch for the first time tonight, lifts the left leg and delivers. Hard hit ball by Moretto into right field. Coutts will pause at second, and Moretto puts runners on first and second with nobody down here in the top of the second inning.
First pitch swinging. We've seen it from a lot of guys. We saw Galland do it last half inning. Now it's Moretto getting in on the action again. If it's going to be a lot of fastballs early, why not go for it? We saw Falmouth try to do that against Logan Allen. He was throwing a lot of first pitch fastballs. Only issue was it had so much movement, was placed so well that just about every time they were fouling them away, and then they would get struck out. This time around, though, not as much good stuff from Seymour.
Blake Dunn will stay at the 6th spot in the batting order. He watches a ball at about shin level. Dunn designated hit in game 1, flew out to right field twice and struck out swinging. Seymour is in a jam here in the second. Coutts, the lead runner, he reached on a hit by pitch. And now 2-0.
Boy, could Blake Dunn use a nice hit right here. He's only got 2 hits on the summer so far. Those came a couple days ago. He's been hitless for the last couple of games. And he's got an opportunity here to gather in some more RBIs. Runner on second, try to break this scoreless streak that the Commodores have been on.
Foul tipped off the leg of Dunn. Barely flinches.
Yeah, he's got the shin protector.
Falmouth for game 2. Still wearing those Rhode black uniforms with the gray pants, maroon socks, maroon lettering. Harwich with one of our favorite home uniforms. Cream pants, cream tops, blue lettering, red hats, and red stirrups.
Yeah, they all wear the stirrups.
Yeah. It's a fresh look. The 2-1 to Dunn. High and outside, and a favorable hitter's count.
Make or break pitch right here, I think, for Seymour in the early goings. This pitch may decide whether this is going to be a good outing or a bad outing. A ball loads the bases, nobody out. A hit, oh boy, you're bringing in a tying run, and the hit parade kind of continues. A strike, though, or an out, that can really change the tide.
Swing and a miss, strike 2. High fastball that Dunn went after, and a full count. It's early, but Evan Shaver already getting loose in the Harwich bullpen. Rising sophomore at Cincinnati. Seymour, not having pitched in 2019, probably itching to get back out on the bump. But he's got 2 runners on here in the second inning. Ball 4 misses upstairs and loads the bases. Commodores have him juiced with nobody down here in the top of the second, and Ben Casparius coming up to the plate.
Huge opportunity. Like I said, it's kind of make or break for whether his outing. Maybe won't decide the game since we're only in the second inning, but it'll decide if Seymour will have an early exit and will have a good return to the pitching mound. He's already getting a mound visit right now, and he's got a big opportunity against Ben Casparius, who maybe is the best 7 hitter on the Cape right now. He's a very solid hitter, played his baseball at UNC Chapel Hill, a team that was able to go to a super, hosting a super as well. So a very solid team as well that he was able to play for. And he's already off to a pretty good start on the Cape with a couple of RBIs against Harwich on opening day. Had a hit against Logan Allen, which not many guys could say they have. So now he's got a chance to do some damage against Seymour, who's not quite Logan Allen.
Well, the Commodores have the bases loaded with nobody out as a result of only 1 hit. Coutts was hit by a pitch to start things off. Moretto singled, and Dunn just worked a walk. Ben Casparius, 3 hits on the summer, 2 of them coming against Harwich. Here's a hard hit ball into right field. This will fall for 1, probably 2. Coutts taps home. Moretto will pause at third. So they move 90 feet each, and this game is tied.
Looked like a really hard struck ball off the bat and then quickly died. It only hit about a couple inches onto the lip of the outfield grass in right field. But hey, it gets the job done. It goes down as a bloop hit, but it was a lot harder than that. Ben Casparius has yet another RBI. He stands on first. The merry-go-round stays in motion. Looking good for Falmouth.
And Danny, you said it, first pitch swinging has been the approach for the Commodores here in game 2. Sean Harrington takes a strike at the belly button. Harrington 1 for 2 in game 1 of this doubleheader. Had a single in the 3rd inning. Seymour's off speed, a late strike call from Isham behind the plate, 0-2.
Looked a little bit high, but the way that Harrington approaches the plate, his batting stance, he just squats so darn low. You got to sometimes give the calls to those pitchers.
This would be a big K for Seymour. Lifts the left leg and delivers. Harrington tried to hold up. Did he go around? Appeal down to third base, Mike Williams says no. I think that was a good call by the third base umpire. Definitely froze those hands.
Going around.
So 1-2. Moretto on third, Dunn on second, Casparius on first. Zach Deloach is on deck, his first start this summer. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Harrington behind the fastball. We have 1 down in this second inning.
Just some high heat that was really getting to Harrington. He couldn't catch up to some of those fastballs early in the count, so Seymour said, let me go back to it, and he manages to do it. That's the thing with Harrington, is the fact that he stands so squat in his batting stance is maybe part of the reason why he can't quite catch up to those letter-high fastballs that are going to be called strikes against him, even though they're kind of up in the zone.
Steve Englert comes out to the mound and makes a quick call to the bullpen. How about this, Danny? Carson Seymour did not pitch for all of 2019 and lasts just an inning and a third here in his first start of the summer.
Yeah, I wonder if they're doing that just to ease him back into things. He, like you said, hasn't pitched at all, so you don't want to throw him out for 100 pitches, but might want to think that he has a little more than an inning and a third in him, but that will be it for him as he's yanked before Deloach, the right-hander, comes up. They'll bring in a right-hander to face him, so it also helps out matchups-wise.
Number 27 in the cream and red comes onto the bump. He's a lefty, 6 foot 175, rising sophomore at the University of Cincinnati. Had a 7.15 ERA in his freshman year, and he got a good amount of work, 61 2/3 innings pitched. Averaged over a strikeout an inning with 69 Ks, but he did issue 48 walks.
Who is this, Blake Espinal? 27, you said?
This is Evan Shaver.
Oh, yeah, Evan Shaver. Okay. Sorry, I have the wrong number in my
All
notes
good.
then.
I could be wrong, but I think there are some double numbers here, either on point streaks for the Mariners or on the field. It's blocked right now, but behind the plate, Patrick Winkel, I believe, is wearing 37.
Looks like it.
But online, he's listed as 27.
Well,
But we figured it out. We're all good.
A lot of players on these rosters early on.
And
which,
it's fluid. A lot of numbers changing.
There's been a lot of changes already. I mean, handful of guys from Falmouth already released. I think 4 or 5 newcomers coming on. One of them, Deloach, who has just arrived in the past couple of days. I mean, Barron Radcliffe just arrived 2 days ago, and he's already playing in his 3rd game. And meanwhile, Harwich, much of the same, have had 3 or 4 guys released and 3 or 4 guys activated.
Zach Deloach had the error that scored the run in the bottom of the first inning, has a chance to make up for it here in a tie ball game, and the bases loaded. First pitch he sees is a fastball strike from Shaver. Deloach goes to Texas A&M. He's from the Lone Star State, grew up in Louisville, went to Hebron High School. Cracks this one out of play.
He had a great freshman year, a .264 average, played in all 62 games, hit 5 triples, that's a heck of a lot. 35 walks, only 33 strikeouts, so had a really good eye. Then came back for his sophomore year, not quite as good, a .205 average, only played in 54 games. Only 16 RBIs, had more Ks than walks as well, so he's looking for a bounce-back summer right now.
Deloach a lefty-lefty matchup. Nice job by Winkel to keep that ball in the dirt in front of him. The runners stay put. 1-2 the count. Top of the order should get a crack here in the top of the second inning, barring an inning-ending double play. But the top of the order struggled against Seymour in the first. Shaver sets and delivers. Fouled back into the backstop. 1-2 remains the count. Deloach last summer was in the Northwoods League, played with the Wisconsin Woodchucks, and had one heck of a few months. .323 average, 17 doubles, 5 home runs. The Cape is a different animal, though. Here's Shaver. Off speed, got him swinging. Big K from Shaver, 2 down.
That's 2 huge back-to-back swinging strikeouts. First Harrington with nobody out in the bases juiced, then Deloach, 1 out in the bases juiced, and at the very least, you want to put a ball into the air, see if your runner on third, Moretto, has enough speed to tag up and score. To walk away from an inning with bases loaded and nobody out and only to score 1 run is far from ideal.
And Deloach, despite being, I should say in addition to being put in a high-pressure situation, had to face Shaver for the first time. He didn't have the benefit of watching any pitches. Hayden Cantrelle fouls one back. 0-1.
Cantrell's got a great opportunity to break out of his schneid. Ever since that leadoff home run he had against Hyannis a couple nights ago, he has been over with a lot of strikeouts as well. That's something that has really been his bugaboo throughout 2 years of college. He's trying to bring that down.
Cantrelle, a 301 hitter in his sophomore year at UL Lafayette. Took his first AB as a lefty. This time he'll bat righty. 1-2 for the Commodores. Both switch hitters. Schaber with a 1-1 count. Looks into Winkel and delivers. Strike two. He's been pounding the strike zone, only 2 balls.
Yeah, really good pitch. That was a fastball that just clips the outside edge, doesn't really give Cantrelle much to look at. He just has to take it with less than 2 strikes. Now he can go right back to it on 1 and 2. He can go anywhere right here. Cantrelle has to protect.
First 4 Commodore batters this inning all reached base. They want more than 1. Curveball misses high.
Just a little bit high. Looked like it came in just above the lettering of Falmouth across Cantrell's chest. Great frame job, however, by Winkel. This is his first start, and he's looking very solid behind home plate.
Winkel, another Yukon Husky. He'll get the pitch from the Cincinnati Bearcat, Evan Schaber. This one lifted out of play. For a sec, thought that Bobby Seymour or Mike Ludwig at first and right respectively might have had a chance at that, but it falls to the fans who sprint over.
The fans have really left in full force.
Yeah. A lot of fans out here for game 1, but the overcast and the light sprinkles probably sent some home. Schaber delivers, swing and a miss, strike 3. Coutts reaches on a hit by pitch and comes around to score. The first 4 batters all reach base, but then 3 straight strikeouts for the Doors. They get 1, but they definitely wanted more than that. It's 1-1 heading to the bottom of the 2nd inning. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game.
We love Milton Cat.
Love him. Sponsor of today's games. This is game number 2.
Yeah.
Double whammy for Milton and his cat.
Michael Ludwig will start things off here in the bottom of the 2nd. And then a couple of Yukon Huskies due up after him, Patrick Winkel and Christian Fedko. Sam Strickland out for his 2nd inning of work. Here's a sky fly ball into left center. Deloach makes his first put out in a Commodores uniform, 1 down.
Hey, 1 pitch. That'll get the job done. Good thing for Strickland, who ran into a little bit of trouble in the 1st inning. Let a couple guys get on base. But that is an easy out number 1 against Ludwig. Now he's got the bottom of the order. A couple guys from Yukon coming up against him. We'll see how Strickland can do against them.
Patrick Winkel, wearing number 37, batting lefty, comes in and watches a curveball sink just below the knees. Winkel, a recent addition to this Mariners roster. And he cracks one into right center field. This will drop for a single. Blake Dunn trots in and corrals it and throws into second base. So a perfect 1-for-1 to start 2019 for the catcher.
He's batting 1,000. Get him off the field. Perfect average now for Pat Winkel, and not like we're any surprise. There's, Yukon, as we mentioned last game, they've got some of the best talent on the Cape, most talent on the Cape, I should say, and one of the best teams in the American Conference. There's a reason that they're perennially threatening other teams in the postseason.
Perhaps a bit surprised, though, to see him settle in with that wood bat so quickly.
Yeah,
First
that's
AB,
true.
he looked like a natural.
Typically, we see guys just, really can't even make contact with the wood bats early on.
Christian Fedko fouls off the first pitch towards us. Positioned basically right down that third base line, staring at the left field pole. Strickland's off speed again, missing just low. 1-1.
It's a good pitch. Misses low by maybe an inch or so. Otherwise, Harrington with a nice frame, that with a lot of movement. Not a lot to dislike.
Strickland from the stretch looks into Harrington. Sets and delivers. This is hitting the same direction towards Dunn, but it'll stay up in the air for him. 2 down.
Blake Dunn getting reps all over the place. Center field was DH last game, now in right field. That's the interesting thing. Before all the permanent guys get here, and as you're still working around temps, and as Jeff Trundy wants to see where guys fit in the best, he's going to put them in a bunch of different locations. Blake Dunn is one of those guys who've seen Casparius all over the place, Langworthy even, and Blake Dunn looking just fine in right field as he always does in the outfield.
Brian Dempsey will round things out for the Harwich Mariners. He takes strike 1. Dempsey 0 for 9 to start the summer. He's been on the Cape before, was a temporary player in Harwich last year, was 2 for 7 with 2 RBIs before his stint at White House Field came to an end. He's up with 2 outs and a runner on first. Off-speed misses low, and Sean Harrington keeps it in front of him.
Another great block by Harrington. He just looks so agile behind home plate. He really knows that he's got to be on top of things, and right as it spikes in the dirt, he was ready to block it.
Strickland shakes off his catcher once and looks back Winkel at first. Swing and a miss for strike 2. Brian Dempsey, a Boston College Eagle from Potomac, Maryland, batted just under 300 this year at 297. Played most of last summer with the DC Grays in the Cal Ripken League. He fends off that 1-2 pitch to keep the count the same. Boston College, the last team in the ACC to sneak into the tournament. They pulled off a shocker in the group stage. Strickland delivers and a foul ball high back behind us. And Sean Harrington, the catcher's younger brother, recently committed to play baseball at Boston College, receiving a scholarship.
They're a team with a beautiful new ballpark, and they, bring in a lot of top talent from the Northeast. There's no reason why they shouldn't be.
One hopper to Cruz over at short. He'll flip it to Hayden Cantrelle, who taps second base with his left foot. And that'll do it here in the bottom of the second inning. Patrick Winkel singles in his first AB, but the Mariners leave him stranded at first. It's 1-1 as we head to the third. You're listening to Falmouth Commodores Baseball on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
Cruz, Langworthy, and Coutts on the docket for the Commodores here in the top of the third inning. Evan Shaver will get his first full inning of work after coming in relief and shutting down Deloach and Cantrelle to end the bases-loaded jam. Strike 1 to Cruz. Cruz batting as a righty in this AB. He watches a curveball that drops in for a strike and quickly behind to Shaver.
Absolute worst case scenario is letting Harwich get the momentum back on defense. You want to keep that steamroll going, keep putting guys on base, and put their backs against the walls.
Ball one tried to get Cruz to chase, but he laid off. Cruz 4 for 14 in a Commodores uniform. Swing and a miss, strike three. Second strikeout of the day for Cruz, as hitters 1 and 2 are a combined 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts.
Yeah, it's just been a lot of strikeouts for Cantrelle and Cruz early in the season. Those two, along with Blake Dunn, have been really victims of the K pretty frequently, and they're adjusting to the wood bat as we've been talking about. It's only a matter of time until some of those guys start exploding for hits.
Austin Langworthy watches a ball above the letters and a little bit outside. Shaver pounding the strike zone so far. He's thrown 16 pitches, 11 strikes, 5 balls. Make it 12 strikes as that one settles in and evens the count.
There's no radar gun showing us anything, but there's some zip to this fastball.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was hitting mid-90s.
Langworthy scoots out of the way for that inside pitch. It's 2-1. Shaver working from the windup for the first time in this half inning. Curveball missed and makes it 2-2. Excuse me, 3-1.
Now, did Falmouth take BP today before
They
game
did
one?
not.
That might be an issue right now. Might be why they're a little slow with the bats.
The 3-1, swing and a miss, strike two. Langworthy had the green light on a 3-1 count, but couldn't connect.
It's like a big home run swing. He loves that uppercut swing even on knee-high pitches, but he's way behind the fastball.
Full count, payoff pitch is back into the trees. Already 6 Ks for the Commodores through just 2 1/3. 3 of them coming in the second inning. Pitch number 7 of the at-bat to Langworthy. Off speed, and it missed just downstairs. Langworthy thought about swinging, held off, and reaches first.
Good job by Langworthy selling it, too. Just kind of jogging straight down to first base as everybody was waiting for maybe a punch-out call. But that's a great call behind home plate by Doug Sam. He's kept it consistent. That's a good breaking ball. Sits a little bit low below the knees. Winkel with that frame job to get it back in line. But we've seen Harrington do the same thing, not getting the calls, and it stays for both sides. That just below the knees isn't going to get you a strike call.
Coutts swings at the first pitch. He was hit by a pitch in his first at-bat. Came around to score the lone run for Falmouth. Again, they scored 1 in the second, Danny, but really it felt still kind of like a lost inning that Harwich salvaged at the end.
Yeah, bases loaded, nobody out. You got to get more than one.
Shaver will check on Langworthy. Close tag. Not in time by Bobby Seymour. We saw the Commodores steal a couple bases in game 1, trying to take advantage when they had those few base runners on. See if they do the same here in the second matchup. Ball 1 to Coutts.
We'd like to see some more stealing. I mean, maybe not Langworthy. He doesn't have the most speed, and we know Winkel is a lot better behind home plate, but you guys got guys like Cantrelle in the base paths. You got to have them going.
Shaver clearly has Langworthy on his mind as he checks first again. This time Langworthy doesn't have to dive back. He's got that jersey dirty here in the top of the third inning. 1-1 your score between the Mariners and the Commodores, game 2 of a doubleheader. Coutts swings at that low pitch and fends it off. 1-2.
I think the jersey's still dirty from last game. Because I'm looking at
True.
my scorecard, and he plays the outfield. There's no reason for that dirt to be all over his chest. I think slid in somewhere last game.
He just slid back into first.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed that.
No worries.
That's a lot of dirt for one slide then. Holy moly. He just totally caked it.
Shaver, the lefty, stares down Langworthy. Briefly flashes home, kicks and delivers. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. 7th K of the night for the Commodores, and we're through just 2 2/3 innings.
it's just been strikeout after strikeout after strikeout, really since the Hyannis game when they struck out 16 times. It's now 4 games straight where it's been a lot of Ks against Falmouth and a lot of fastballs that they've been striking out on. 2 strikes, going back to the fastball, going high with it, and Falmouth has been swinging right through it. Just got to think, choke up a little bit, shorten up the swing, try to just, make contact with it at a certain point.
Steven Moretto did that well in the second inning with a single into right field. He is 1 for 1 this afternoon, so only 1 out on the base paths for the Commodores. It was Austin Langworthy who grounded out to second base. Otherwise, they've been sent back to the dugout on 3 strikes. Moretto, the righty from Cal State Sacramento, cracks one past third, and he's 2 for 2. Cam Thompson can't get to it. Runners on first and second with 2 outs.
That's back-to-back ABs now for Steven Moretto, where he has swung at the first pitch he's seen. And you know what? Why not? They can't strike you out if you swing at the first pitch. That's what Moretto's philosophy has been, and he's 2 for 2 that way. A single to right, and now a single to left.
Moretto, 2 of the 3 hits for the Commodores here in game number 2. Scoreboard just about even. 1 run on 3 hits, 1 error for the Commodores, 1 run on 3 hits, and flawless in the field are the Mariners. These are 2 teams that field very well, 2nd and 3rd respectively in the Cape League in fielding percentage. Blake Dunn will step in with 2 men on and 2 outs. He swings at the first pitch, but can't connect with the off-speed. Actually, it was ruled as a foul tip into the mitt. Strike 1 nonetheless.
Yeah, it looked like a little breaker that he was early loading on, and then all of a sudden it bottoms out, slows down a little bit, so he had to reach for it. That's a textbook changeup from Shaver. It's perfect.
Another off speed makes it 0-2. Blake Dunn did not swing at that one. He walked his first time up after working a full count. Made it over to second base and was there with nobody out and watched Harrington, Deloach, and Cantrelle strike out to end that inning. Shaver with a long look back to Langworthy. He looks home and looks back to Langworthy and delivers. Stinger over towards the Falmouth bullpen foul.
Dunn in a difficult situation. He's been a heavy strikeout guy all season long, facing 0-2. The thing is with him is I know we often say he's an all-or-nothing guy, strikeout or home run. With Dunn, it's kind of strikeout or walk for him. He's still reaching base a lot at a very high clip, but he's going to have his work cut out for him if he wants to reach on a walk at least. He's down 0-2.
Foul tip into the mitt. Strike 3. Top of the 3rd is done. There have been 9 outs by the Commodores. 8 have been strikeouts. Shaver gets out of a jam, and the Commodores leave 2 stranded. It's still 1-1 as we head to the bottom of the 3rd. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu. Learning at Curry Urgent Care is now available at 4 Cape Cod Healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare.
We're back early here before the bottom of the 3rd inning. Let's take a look at the road ahead for the Commodores. A long stretch that is just getting started, really, Danny.
Yeah, this is 12 games in 10-day stretch, and they does not let up anytime soon. They've got games every single day this week, including a week from today, yet another doubleheader, 2 against Yarmouth Dennis and their lone visit to Gov Fuller Field in Falmouth. Falmouth will be playing Wareham, hopefully, for the first time tomorrow.
Game 2, right?
Yeah, it is game 2 on the schedule. They are supposed to play this game twice. Has not happened yet. Then Orleans comes into town for the first time this season. Everybody else before YD, they've played before.
4 straight road games for the Commodores in the latter part of that week. Bourne, Hyannis, Orleans, and Wareham. Before they return to Gov Fuller Field for a doubleheader against the Red Sox of Yarmouth Dennis. Strickland, off speed. Catches the knees of Cam Thompson. So the next scheduled off day I say scheduled because it might be evaporated soon, is June 24th. This is a hard hit ball into center field. It'll land for a single, no problem. Fourth hit of the evening for the Mariners is off the bat of the leadoff man, Cam Thompson.
You know, what's been really curious is how these hard-struck balls, they seem, like such high exit velocity, and then they die. I know it's the wood bat, but that's another one. We saw Casparius have a hard-struck ball, and it landed just into the outfield grass. That one landed on the dirt behind second base. Clear single, not an infield single by any stretch, but still, these balls are just dying rapidly.
It'll get the job done as those singles give no chance for the outfielders to get to the ball in time. And the leadoff man is aboard for the Mariners for the first time in Game 2. Meat of the order coming up for the Mariners as well, 2, 3, and 4, with Galland, who lifts one into right field. It's going to be a long run for Dunn, so instead Hayden Cantrelle gets there for out number 1.
We just give a shout out on that awesome graphic to our own Haley Blitch, our graphics person.
Graphics and social media for Haley Blitch.
Yeah, please go follow the Falmouth Commodores at Twitter and at Instagram. There's great stuff. We're on top of everything, much more so than our live streams. We're on top of everything. And keep up with games if you're not at your computer.
Facebook as well. One of my
Facebook
favorite
too.
parts is the albums that are posted for every game. Our photographer, Megan Rose, is the best in the league. I don't think it's close.
So go check out all of our social channels if you want to keep up with all things Falmouth Commodores.
How about the WordPress as well? The blog, Commodore's Corner. Stealing second base is Thompson. Harrington lost the ball on the transfer to his throwing hand, so no throw down to second, and now a runner in scoring position with one down. And big Bobby Seymour at the plate.
Yeah, Bobby Seymour with his really first chance with runners on the base paths. I mean, he had a chance with Galland on base in the first inning. Now he's got a runner in scoring position looking for an RBI.
This one's lifted on the infield to Moretto. Makes the catch for out number 2.
That'll get the job done. Back-to-back pop-outs, 1 to second, 1 to third base. So good response here by Sam Strickland, keeping the ball low, and somehow these guys are getting under it. Looks like Harwich is trying to do a little bit too much with the baseball rather than just try to hit line drives, and that's caused them to get 2 quick outs.
Well, Strickland has been pounding the strike zone, so I'm a fan. 7 balls and 25 strikes. He's given up 4 hits, 1 run, which was unearned. It was a nasty curveball that dropped in for a strike to the designated hitter, batting cleanup in Chris Lanzilli. Lanzilli, a teammate of Bobby Seymour's at Wake Forest. We talked about the Demon Deacons a little last inning as this one is lifted. Harrington loses the mask. It's going to be a close play at the screen, and he makes the catch. Third out of the inning, a diving, sliding play by Sean Harrington as we head to the top of inning number 4. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network. It's 1-1, Doors and Mariners.
College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu. Learning at Curry College, urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians, expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgent care.
The catcher, Sean Harrington, got the Commodores out of the bottom of the third. It's still knotted up at 1s apiece. here in the top of the fourth inning. Evan Shaver still on the bump, and why not? He has been great, Danny.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been pitching against Falmouth really has been solid. Their bats have not come alive. Logan Allen was fantastic in game one. Shaver coming in relief, long relief, and he's been looking sharp.
Casparius with a slow roller over to short, bobbled, but a nice recovery by the shortstop in Brian Dempsey, who initially lost the ball but spun, and a nice pick by Bobby Seymour at first as well.
Yeah, I thought for sure that Casparius was going to reach base. He's fast enough to beat out that bobbling ball, but it didn't get too far away from Dempsey. He was able to scoop it up pretty quickly, didn't lose any time, and delivered a strike over to first base in a hurry to make sure that Casparius couldn't beat it out.
Harrington swings at the first pitch. This could be trouble, but it's a slow roller. Dempsey with another spinning throw, and what a play by the shortstop again. 2 down.
What can you do about it? I mean, other than just have a harder hit ball, there's not much that Harrington can do. He put it in the perfect spot. It was directly behind the second base bag. It was out on the outfield grass. But how about Brian Dempsey? Looking like a natural over there at shortstop, making the spinning throw after fielding it on a run.
And while that first play was a good play after a bad play, right, where he bobbled the ball, that was an all-around fantastic out made by Dempsey at short for the second out of the inning. Brings up Zach Deloach, who struck out swinging in his first at-bat of the summer. He's got a 1-1 count with a ball downstairs. And Evan Shaver's got to appreciate defense like that to help him out.
Yeah, especially keeping it a quick inning. That was 3 pitches. He got 2 outs thanks to his shortstop.
Deloach wearing number 9. If you were watching earlier this season, that was Jake Frasca, who played third and got a couple opportunities at the plate from Sacred Heart before being released. Deloach watches a ball upstairs as we got a duck flying around on White House Field. I thought it was going to get trapped, but it seemed to have made its way.
It's right behind the
back
home
into
plate
the trees.
Could have had a Randy Johnson moment.
Because that's not a small bird. I mean, those things are big. Deloach launches one. Well foul. He pulled that one to make it 3-2.
Yeah, it looked like it was an off-speed pitch. I'm not sure if it was a breaking ball. It didn't have much break to it. Stayed upstairs about letter high, and that's never a spot that you want to miss with your off-speed, keeping it up in the zone to anybody. And Deloach, if he was just a little bit back on it, would have put it well over the fence.
Payoff pitch. Upstairs, ball 4. Just the second 3-ball count from Evan Shaver, and now the first walk that he has issued here this afternoon. The Commodores have a base runner with 2 outs.
Big spot for Hayden Cantrelle, 0 for 2, 2 swinging strikeouts, chance to get off the schneid. Like I said, his last time up when he had bases loaded, now maybe with a little bit less pressure. Still in a 1-1 game. The Doors could really use anything right here. Hayden's going to be one of their better bats all summer long. It's just a matter of when it'll come alive.
Cantrelle shows bunt, pulls back, takes a strike at the knees. 4 for his first 20 this summer. He's been a starter every game. The only Commodore who has started every single game. His middle infield mate, Trey Cruz, started all but 1. Ball down and low. Evens the count.
You know what's been refreshing about this inning is no strikeouts as of yet. They've at least forced Dempsey to, make some spectacular plays in the infield. That's at least
putting the ball in play, right?
Yeah, it's a better feeling than striking out.
Casparius is at first. Shaver checks on him. Those lefty pickoff moves can be lethal.
Yeah, they could be really good. We saw a righty pick off Dunn a couple days ago for the Harbor Hawks.
That's Deloach is over at first, excuse me. Cantrelle watches a strike at the knees. And I don't know how to describe it, but I can read the body language, and he didn't like that call.
No, that wasn't. It didn't look like a strike. I mean, we don't have the best angle either, but it definitely looked like a frame job put on by Winkel in order. He had to turn the glove, pull it back in order for it to clip the corner.
Cantrelle has to protect with 2 strikes. Tag over at first. They got him. Lefty pickoff moves can be lethal, and Shaver's was there. He faces the minimum, so Cantrelle will be back up in the top of the 5th. But Deloach caught lagging over at first base. So 2 groundouts and a pickoff move sends this to the bottom of the 4th. 1-1 your score on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development, online at www.curry.edu. Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare. Urgent
Follow our social media. You should do it.
That was quite the plug.
Strickland delivers a first pitch strike to Joey Weimer.
Check it out right there.
At Falmouth Commodores.
Tony Bianco had set it up.
Instagram, Twitter. Strickland delivers ball 1 inside. Weimer moves out of the way.
That's our Twitter right there. You can't miss it.
Yeah. You know what it is. You know how to spell it. It's right there.
And it's good stuff. It is
really good stuff.
Great tweets. Everything you want to know. Everything Doors.
It's a foul ball off of home plate, and it ends up by the Harwich dugout. 1-2 the count. Joey Weimer with a solo home run that was the difference in Game 1. Commodores being shut out for the first time this year by an outstanding Harwich pitching staff that had their best outing so far this season. Strickland out for his 4th inning of work. Here's a broken bat flare shot. Cruz dives for it, but he can't make the play. Excuse me, that's Cantrelle as it dies in the right field grass, and Weimer reaches with a single here in the 4th.
Boy, that was dangerous. That was a sharp shard peeling away from the top of the bat. Pretty much the entire barrel of the bat just launched towards Sam Strickland on the mound. And, I mean, that one is a little more forgivable. I mentioned last inning how it seems like just every single hit dies. And that one, of course, was going to die really early because of the broken bat. And unfortunately for Hayden Cantrelle, who laid out, gave it his best shot, but it just kept falling right in front of his glove.
He was playing shaded a little bit more towards second base, so did have to hustle to get over to that ball. Almost got there in time, but no cigar. Ludwig takes a ball. Flew out to center field his first time up in the 2nd straight inning now that the Harwich Mariners have their leadoff man aboard with a single. Running is Weimer. Throw down to second base. Not in time. And if there's one flaw defensively for Sean Harrington, it is that throwing arm.
Yeah. Yeah, a little to be left to be desired, but also falls on the pitchers a little bit to try to keep those runners closer. We saw Thompson last game. He just let Galland kind of run all over him, not giving him too many looks back.
This is a hard hit ball into the gap in left center field, but it hangs up for Langworthy. Weimer thought about tagging, but Langworthy with a strike to Cruz at short to keep him at second base. 1 down.
And this is something that we've seen Falmouth pitching do so well with, is keeping guys on base. There's been a lot of runners left on base. Opponents have left a lot of guys on base against Falmouth pitching because they've really locked things down when guys get in scoring position. And this is the bottom of the order, so this is exactly who you want to face with a runner on second. We'll see if Strickland can settle back in what may be his final inning of work.
Strickland has thrown 42 pitches now after that off-speed drops at the knees of Winkel. He likes that first pitch curveball from what I can tell. Keep the hitters off balance. Weimer in scoring position with 1 down. He's going to try to steal third. Foul tipped. So Weimer will have to head back to second base.
Lucky foul tip. Barely got a piece of that, and it got behind Harrington, but it's the reason why Weimer has to go back, or else he would have been easily safe because he's just got such a good jump.
Weimer playing center field. Played left in game 1, so you know he's got some wheels. His jersey now dirty after he slid into second. He's dancing at second base. Strickland with a long look back. Off speed down the first base line. Casparius fields it. Will underhand to Strickland, who taps the bag. Runner advances. 2 down now with a runner on third.
Great play by Ben Casparius. The lip of this infield grass has been giving guys trouble all day long. We saw Bobby Seymour unable to field one that skipped up on the grass, went up near about his shoulder. We saw Cruz last game have to jump up for one on a slow ground ball because it hit that lip, and then that one hits the lip. Casparius responds to it well. He got really nice and low, was able to get in front of it as well, so didn't get lazy at all, fielded on a backhand up by his face.
Leading run now 90 feet away as Christian Fedko takes strike one inside. First pitch fastball this time from Strickland. Strickland's going to work from the windup with Weimer at third base. He shakes off Harrington once. They agree on a pitch. Harrington sets up outside. This ball is cracked into center field. Going to be a long run for Deloach. Tries to make the catch. It goes off his glove. Back to the fence and going into second and trying to take third is Fedko. Throw it to third base. Tag not in time. And the Mariners lead 2-1.
Tough start to the season for Zach Deloach in the outfield. That I don't know if it'll go down as an error. It absolutely should, because when you've got when you're tracking a ball in the outfield and it hits off your glove, it should be an error every single time. They ruled that a hit.
Yep.
Well, it hit right off of his glove, so it was an error. Let's be frank about it, but just tough start for him because, I mean, it's a tough play to make. It was hit very deep into left center field. He did everything right. He tracked everything right, and all of a sudden, it just goes in and out of the awaiting mitt.
Yeah, he got there in time. It was a tough ball to track because it got out to deep center in a hurry. Christian Fedko now at third base with 2 outs. Here's a one-hopper, and it'll get past Cruz. Tapping home plate and putting the Mariners up 3 is Christian Fedko. And how about that single from Brian Dempsey, who showed off defensively last half inning?
Yeah, he's doing everything right. He got a pitch up in the zone, pulled it, but was able to sneak it past the glove of Moretto, who was kind of closer to the bag with a runner there. Couldn't get over to the hole in time, just beat him. And that brings home the run with ease. Now it's back up to the top of the lineup, and Strickland, who was looking sharp, hadn't allowed an earned run despite 1 run coming home thanks to an error, has now let in 2 earned runs. He's got just 1 more out to get.
Again, he has a definite gripe with one of those earned runs, but that single from Dempsey is just good hitting. So it's ruled a triple from Christian Fedko. It went off of the tip of Zach Deloach's glove out in center field, went back to the wall. Fedko made it all the way to third base and scored Joey Weimer. Dempsey singles to score Fedko, and the Mariners now have a 2-run lead. Missing inside is Strickland to Cam Thompson. Cam Thompson 1 for 2 on the day with a single his last time up.
This just comes down to the bats now. I mean, Strickland has put together a good enough game for you to get a win, but 3 hits ain't going to cut it.
Strickland back in the stretch. Cam Thompson lifts one foul back behind the Harwich dugout. Harwich would move to an even 500 with a sweep of Falmouth today. And they would move their winning streak against the Commodores to 7 games going back all the way to last year. Here's a high fly ball into left field. Langworthy has a read on it, and he makes the catch. A single, a triple, and a single. Plate 2 more runs for the Mariners. They are back in the lead. It's 3-1 as we head to the top of the 5th. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu. Care is now available at 4 Cape Cod healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare. Urgent care is
Top of the order due up for the Commodores. They have to try to come back in this one to avoid moving to below 500. Now at 2-2-1 after a Game 1 loss. Strike one, belt high on the inside black to Cantrelle.
Shaver's been shoving, though. He's been looking really good. He's been getting a lot of strikeouts, not last inning, but previously.
Ball one, low. Shaver with a start of sorts.
Yes.
Because Carson Seymour came in for just an inning and a third, gave up 2 hits and the 1 run. Here's a ball that is softly hit to third base, and Cam Thompson shuffles it over to first, 1 down.
All you really need is 1 hit if you're the Doors. 1 hit to get things rolling, get a couple guys on base. It hasn't been like last game where they had 4 straight innings with runners on base. They had that pressure in the second inning with the bases loaded and nobody out. Could only get the 1 run. Otherwise, third inning, they were getting a couple outs before getting guys on base. Last inning, it was 2 outs and then guys got on. So just need to find something to get the ball rolling before you get your back against the wall.
Cruz watches another first pitch strike. We've said it a lot with these Harwich Mariners pitchers, but they have continued to impress. They've only given up 1 run across 11 innings now. Shaver from the windup to the righty hitting Cruz. Lifts that one back behind the press box.
Cruz 2 strikeouts on the day, a backwards K and a forwards K, so I'm sure he's just looking to put something into play right now. Doesn't have to be anything too special, but at least give your legs a chance to maybe beat out a ground ball.
Ball 1 misses outside. 2-2, excuse me. Cruz a strikeout victim twice today. Commodores have held the strikeouts at bay, at least since the third inning. Another foul ball, and it's 2-2.
Still with 8 strikeouts. They had 10 strikeouts against Allen last game. Strikeouts galore for the Commodores. That's been their biggest problem this season.
Cruz takes a short hack. This one might stay in play. Winkel trying to avoid the dugout, slides, but it'll land amongst the bat boys. And really, not much you can point towards to Harwich that needs to be improved. They have looked sharp in both games.
Yeah, maybe they could ask for a couple more hits because, I mean, they only had the 5 hits, I think it was last game, the 1 home run. They only won 1-0, but it got the job done. So I'm sure they're not complaining.
Austin Langworthy on deck. He reached second base. And another foul ball by Cruz. He does work good at bats.
Yeah.
Some of them end in strikeouts, but quabs, as they call them, quality at bats.
It's so many foul balls from him. It's just a matter of, is he going to be able to straighten one out, be able to put it into the outfield? Because he's got good swings on him, just can't get all of the baseball.
He had 2 hits last night and a single in game 1, but 0 for his last 3. He watches ball 3 and the count now full.
Tight pitch. Hasn't been called all day. Doug Isham doesn't make an exception here. It's a low fastball just below the knees. I've seen a lot of other umpires give it, but Isham has been consistent.
Payoff pitch. Shaver. Foul tipped into the mitt. Strike 3. 2 swinging strikeouts for Cruz. 1 looking. Now the 9th strikeout for the Commodores here in the 5th inning.
Something about Harwich pitching, except for the opening day against Harwich when Antonio Menendez came in and got shellacked. Otherwise, they have been pretty lights out against the Doors. Shaver, especially. Logan Allen in 2 starts. I mean, Falmouth kind of getting the short end of the stick, having to face their ace 2 times now.
Austin Langworthy, lefty-lefty matchup, watches one by the chin. He leans back to avoid that ball hitting him. Strike 1 at the knees. So Shaver has now pitched over 3 innings. He had 7 innings pitched against Houston this year. That was his longest outing of the season. Here's a chopper over towards second base. Trying to backhand it is Fedko, but throw to first is off target and not in time. It's an infield single coming with 2 outs here in the top of the 5th.
That's the caveat to that is comes with 2 outs. We saw in the 4th inning, Falmouth get a base runner with 2 outs, not able to do much with it. You want to get those guys on, no outs, 1 out, so that you can start a steamroll going. But instead, Langworthy still gets on base. Looked like Fedko might have lost his footing towards the end of it. Probably didn't have to dive, but just didn't get a good enough jump out of the gate on the ground ball. Slowly hit, but just out of his reach as he had to dive for it, knock it down, and then his throw over to first way late.
Yeah, slow roller up the middle. Fedko got to it but couldn't get up and make an accurate throw in time. Coutts fouls one past the left field fence. Coutts scored the only run of the game, only run of the day for the Commodores. And Danny, I keep going back to that 2nd inning, but the Commodores with the bases loaded and no outs get just 1 run as Coutts watches off speed low.
Well, it's now back-to-back nights where they have had bases loaded, couldn't get anything out of it. Granted,
yeah.
Last night, bases loaded 2 outs. It's a little more difficult, but you still want to get something. And then bases loaded, nobody out. They can only get the 1 hit and run to come home. 3 straight strikeouts. Didn't even challenge the hitters.
Coutts with a stinger into shallow right field. Langworthy gets on his horse and goes into third base. It's a 2-out single for Jackson Coutts, and the Commodores have runners on the corners with 2 down.
All right, so something's cooking for Falmouth. Some 2-strike hitting, clutch 2-strike, 2-out hitting. And now you've got Steven Moretto, who's 2 for 2. So he's been feeling it as of late. He's the only one who's really gotten to Shaver all too much. And even if you don't get a run right here, at least if you can kind of get into Shaver's pitch count, try to get under his confidence, force another pitcher into this game, as there's going to be a mound visit. Because at the very least, you don't want to see him anymore.
We do have Will Heflin warming in the pen. He's a new player here on the Cape, a rising senior at Tennessee. Pitching coach for the Mariners, who comes out to meet with Shaver, the catcher, and the whole infield, is in his 7th season. He was an assistant coach at John Carroll University before moving to Kenyon University. Works primarily with pitchers out at Kenyon.
Where are these places? Are these JUCOs? D3?
Yes, that is a JUCO. Yep.
Okay. There's so many of these coaches have been at these,
random schools.
Pretty much random schools. To me.
We can say it. Right?
Yeah. But then you look at Chatham, and they have the star-studded coaching staff.
That's true. Tom Holliday.
Yeah, Tom Holliday, who has been at Oklahoma State. He's been at Miami. He's been at Arizona State.
Texas as well.
Texas won a national championship, and you're like, why do they have the guy from Kenyon?
Some of the connections in the Cape are cause me to scratch my head a little bit, but these guys have great careers and really enjoy the Cape, as do the organizations that keep them around. Moretto swings at the first pitch as he did the last couple ABs, but for the first time doesn't put it in play and fouls it back into the screen.
Good pitch to swing at. Change-up, knee high, kind of broke onto the knees, so it stayed up in the zone long enough, but it was so slow that he was out in front of it, fouled it back. He was right on that one. He's seeing the ball really well right now.
Off speed, got him to miss, and it's 0-2. Blake Dunn on deck if the Commodores can get it to him. Austin Langworthy at third, Jackson Coutts at first. And a chance for the Doors to cut into this 2-run lead for Harwich. Shaver from the stretch, kicks in, delivers. This is a fly ball. Will it stay in play for Seymour? Yes, it does, and he makes the catch right in front of the Falmouth dugout. Steven Moretto goes down for the first time tonight. The Commodores have 2 hits in the 5th inning, but they leave both runners stranded. It's still 3-1 Mariners. We head to the bottom of the 5th. You're listening to Falmouth Commodores Baseball. Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu. Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod Healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare.
They know they love you playing over the PA here at White House Field, and Robert Ahlstrom getting his first appearance on the Cape. He is a lefty from Oregon, Danny.
Yeah, Robert Ahlstrom coming on in relief of Sam Strickland, who went 4 innings. Did allow 7 hits, which is quite a lot. 3 runs, 2 of them earned. We'll see
One
about
of
that.
them's earned, yeah.
1 strikeout for Strickland. Not at all a bad outing for Sam.
So if that was ruled an error, hypothetically, in center field as strike 1 comes in about letter high to Cam Thompson.
Chris Galland. Close.
Second guess. Ahlstrom, the big lefty, delivers low. So if that was an error, hypothetically, by Deloach, all 3 runs would have been unearned, correct? Because that would have been the third out.
There would have been no reason for a guy to be on third base, yes.
The 1-1 from Ahlstrom is cracked into shallow right field, and Casparius will make the catch right at the lip of the grass for out number 1.
But alas, no crying over spilled milk. It's Ahlstrom's game now, the rising junior from Eugene, Oregon, right there where the Ducks play. He plays for the Ducks as well. He is a transfer from, now bear with me, Chemeketa Community College. Say that once, not even 5 times fast. He was a Southern Region MVP when he was at that JUCO. Went 4-3 with a 2.55 ERA, 84 strikeouts in 63 2/3 innings pitched. Comes into his sophomore year at Oregon, led the team in ERA at 3.93 with 61 strikeouts.
Bobby Seymour watches an off-speed drop in there for strike 1. And teammate of Robert Ahlstrom's played in the Cape League last summer in Rin Nelson. He was with Yarmouth Dennis and got drafted on day 1. Commodores with 7 who were drafted on that first day. Cantrelle with a backhand up the middle from the ground ball from Seymour. Throws over to Casparius. 2 up, 2 down.
That's a lot tougher of a play than it looks. I mean, that's a hard hit ball up the middle, well away from where Cantrelle was. He's got to get over there in a jiff. He's got to get the glove downfield, the backhand. He did everything textbook. That's a backhand play. It's not like he was fielding the backhand just to look flashy. No, he had to. He got his body low, kept his center of gravity low so that he could stay with the hops that it might have taken. Gets up, delivers a strike on his back foot. Everything done well by Cantrelle. I've been really impressed with his fielding. It's improved a lot since last summer.
Fastball misses low to Lanzilli. Cleanup man who's 0 for 2 today. It was Nico Cavadas, a.k.a. Shotgun, who was batting cleanup in Game 1. But Lanzilli here in Game 2, that fastball misses high, and Nelson spins off the mound. Didn't like that pitch.
And Chris Lanzilli is, I know we've been raving about Bobby Seymour, but Lanzilli from Wake Forest, he put together a heck of a year, too. He hit .350. Hit 16 home runs, 67 RBIs. It is a very tiny ballpark out in Winston-Salem, but still great numbers.
Beautiful curveball drops in for a strike. And again, looking at some of these guys in the Cape League from Wake Forest, I'm surprised that they were just 5 games above 500. Sussick even. Yeah, Sussick.
Sussick was a good pitcher, but you then look at his school ERA.
Right.
He had a near 6 ERA.
Right.
Again, it's also
another ball missing low.
Pardon me, David. It's also the competition you face in the ACC. I mean, so many good teams, even in just in the state of North Carolina, between UNC, NC State, and Duke. That's a tough go.
This is a sky fly ball, but it might land in no man's land. Langworthy has to get on his horse, but he gets there in time. So 3 up, 3 down for Ahlstrom's first time on the bump for Falmouth. Running out of chances are the Commodores. We head to the top of the 6th inning. Remember, 7-inning games here in the doubleheader. It's 3-1 Mariners on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu. Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod Healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare.
The Harwich Mariners 6 outs away from evening up their record to 3-3, and the Doors in danger of falling below 500 for the first time this summer. On the mound for Harwich will be the third pitcher of Game 2 in Will Heflin.
Billy Boy from Morristown, Morristown, Tennessee. He's a volunteer at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. Stands at 5'11", 175. The former number 3 left-handed pitcher from the state of Tennessee has had kind of an up-and-down college career. An ERA his freshman year at 293, ballooned to 563 as a sophomore, back down to 220 this past year when he went 4-1, 35 strikeouts over 32 and 2/3 innings pitched, and 26 appearances. One of the most reliable relievers for the Volunteers, and a very low ERA.
Blake Dunn lifts one into right field on the first pitch, and he is off the schneid with his first hit of the second game. Leadoff runner aboard again for the Commodores, but they have to capitalize. That looked like a fastball from Heflin that had some zip to it, but Dunn was ready for it.
What I'm looking here from Dunn is steal some bases. He's got so much speed. He's on the base paths constantly. I mean, he walked his first time up back in the second. Why not try to swipe a bag? You're getting a little desperate with only 6 outs to go. Your bats aren't really there. Put yourself in scoring position and see if you can challenge Winkel.
Heflin, a 5'11" lefty, entering his senior year down in Tennessee. Casparius watches a strike that he thought might have been a ball. And Heflin, you mentioned those 26 appearances. He made one start, so 25 of those appearances were in relief, and it was only 3 2/3 innings against UNC Asheville. Strike number 2 coming into Casparius. He struck out 8, so 8 of the 10 outs were Ks.
And I know we've seen Harwich the most out of any team on the Cape, but they so far have got one of the most impressive arms, system of arms.
Heflin, another lefty, so he has to be careful with the pickoff moves. Here is a protective swing from Casparius, fouls it off to stay alive. Danny, it's interesting you mentioned that because the arms have been great against the Commodores. But entering today, a 4.91 team ERA was 9th in the Cape League. Kind of hard to believe.
You look at some of these guys, and he's out of Tennessee and SEC school, and he shoved. You look at Logan Allen.
No,
he
I'm
was
not.
fantastic.
I'm not disputing you because they have been great today, no doubt about it. It's just in some of their earlier games they did get slapped around the 7 runs against Falmouth.
Yeah, and that was Menendez who got beat around for those, and he was a pretty solid reliever for Wake Forest. So Franco Eleman said it: to be the best, you got to beat the best, and that's the case.
The 0-2 up the middle. This could be 2. Onto second for 1, and the throw onto first base by Dempsey is too late. He tried to make it 3 for 3 on spinning throws, but Casparius able to beat it out down the line.
And I know it's a risk to steal, especially against a guy like Winkel, who's a very sound behind the plate, but it's just like that's been so constant for the Commodores, is getting a guy on base and then fielder's choice ending the inning, or ending the threat. And now Casparius just replaces Dunn. You don't have as much speed on the base paths. I say, why not just go for it?
Right. Try to spark the team in some way, right? We've seen Hayden Cantrelle do that a couple times. Strike 1 at the belt of Sean Harrington, who's 0 for 2 in Game 2. Struck out and grounded out. And the last time he was up was in the 4th inning, and Dempsey made that exceptional play up the middle where he fielded a slow ground ball and spun onto first to beat Harrington. 0-2 now the count after beautiful pitch from Heflin.
Final line for Shawver, 3 2/3 innings pitched. He allowed 3 hits, 2 walks, 6 Ks. Like we said, no matter who it is, seems like if he's wearing a Harwich uni, he's shoving.
Harrington thought about swinging. Instead, he watches it in the dirt, and Winkel keeps it in front of him. One stat that Harwich pitching has been exceptional in, Danny. Tied for first in the Cape League in walks issued. Coming into today, just 9 free passes. And today has been pretty much the same from Harwich. We saw 1 walk from Allen, his first of the summer, and 3 walks here in Game 2. So they really keep those mistakes low.
Yeah.
Harrington watches a ball outside. A gutsy take from the 8-hitter.
That's a great take, though. That's a bottoming out slider, it looked like, and he wanted to go for it. He saw it was breaking just outside. He's got a great eye at the plate.
Harrington in his sophomore year Had the most walks on the team with 36. The 2-2. Same exact pitch, same exact result. Harrington watches it outside, and he's clawed back in this count to make it full.
That one looked a little bit better than the previous one. I thought that one might have caught the corner, but instead, Sean showing off right now. We'll see if he can do something here on 3-2.
Harrington taps the outside of the plate with his bat. It's wagging back and forth as Harrington rocks back and forth. Travels this one down the first base line. Seymour will get the lead runner back to first, but beating out the throw yet again at first base is Harrington, just like Casparius before him, 2 down.
Must have written fielder's choice on my scorecards in these 2 games countless times, probably 4 or 5 times at this point. It seems like whenever they get a guy on first, it's a ground ball. Really not a lot of hits with runners on base, and they've already looking at 7 runners, stranded on the base paths through 5 innings. If they can't get anything going in this one, that'll go up another notch.
9-hitter Deloach, 0 for 1 with a walk. Takes the first pitch ball. Heflin a lefty, Deloach a lefty. Fastball that Deloach gets a piece of to make it 1-1. Zach Deloach, you mentioned batted .260 this year, but his average fell to just above 200 in his sophomore campaign. Plays strictly center field with the Aggies. Bats as a lefty, throws as a righty. Heflin with a high fastball. Did he go around, appeal down to third? He did not.
Texas A&M probably had one of the most entertaining regionals. They were out in Morgantown. They won against West Virginia, knocked them out of their own regional on a walk-off grand slam. Texas A&M playing in some really entertaining games, but couldn't get out of the regional. Duke bested them.
Swinging a miss for strike 2, evens the count 2-2. Yeah, what a game that was. 11-10 in an elimination game. The 1 and 2 seeds both losing early. That allowed Duke to scoot out of the Morgantown Regional. Duke then won game 1 against Vanderbilt in the Super Regional, but a Kumar Rocker complete game no-hitter put the momentum back to the Vanderbilt Commodores, who won game 3 and are in Omaha. Foul tipped into the mitt from Deloach. He strikes out twice in his debut in Falmouth. Mariners hanging on to the lead as we head to the bottom half of the 6th inning. It's 3-1 in favor of the Harwich Mariners. We'll be back on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu. Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod Healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare.
Robert Alstrom, Joey Weimer squaring off here in the bottom of the 6th inning. High heat way upstairs. Harrington has to get out of that crouch and field it above his head. 1-0. Weimer, just one hit today with a single and a run scored in the 4th inning. 4th inning was also when he had that home run in game number 1. Wind's starting to whip here at White House Field.
Can tell.
What do you mean? Weimer with a big hack, and he gets a piece of the fastball, fends it off.
I'm just glad the rain subsided. It started sprinkling in between it started sprinkling before game 1 and then in between games 1 and 2, and it has not rained at all during the games. It was supposed to start raining at 6, but thankfully we might get these 2.
We're going to get a huge downpour in about 3 minutes because you said that. Strike 2, right down Broadway. Weimer took it.
Well, you know what tomorrow's forecast is saying?
No, I don't.
It's saying rain.
Stop it. Stop.
And they're supposed to be playing Wareham.
Wareham game has now been postponed twice. Weimer wags at that off speed and pokes it foul. Tommy Sheehan set to start tomorrow for the Commodores. It would be the first Falmouth starter who would be getting his 2nd start on the bump. I said starter a lot there. We'll move on. Alstrom with his first appearance had worked a perfect 1-2-3 inning. And this is a single up the middle. Alstrom tried to get the glove down but could not in time. And Weimer has been one of the stories, if not the story, for the Mariners, now with 3 hits across 2 games.
Yeah, Joey Weimer had the 1 hit of record last game, the solo home run. Now he's got 2 singles and back-to-back at-bats. He came around to score his last time and swiped a bag en route. So we'll see if they try to keep Weimer a little bit closer because clearly he's got some speed in those long legs.
Weimer stands at first, goes to Cincinnati. The Bearcats stunning the Oregon State Beavers in game 1 of that regional. Strike 1 at the knees to Ludwig. And Oregon State, just the 3rd team in the history of NCAA tournament to be defending national champions, bounced in 2 games.
Oh boy, they didn't even win a game. I totally forgot that.
Yeah, 0-2. 7-6 loss to Cincinnati, 4-1 loss to Creighton. Here's a play from Casparius. He has to come off the bag, does Cruz, as he tried to do a sidearm shuffle. So runners on 1st and 2nd with nobody out here in the 6th.
I thought Cruz had his foot on the bag when he caught the ball, but I thought he took his foot off the bag too early when he was catching it. But the sidearm throw from Casparius, as he really had no play at first, would have had to stop on a dime and throw over to somebody covering. Decided to go to 2nd with it, but like you said, had to do a backhand flip and just didn't get enough oomph on it.
So in steps Patrick Winkel, who singled in his first at-bat of the 2019 summer and then grounded out to Casparius at first in the 4th inning. 4th inning has been the difference in both games as he takes a ball high and outside. Fastball from Alstrom because game was tied going into the 4th when Weimer hit that home run. Moved the score to 1-0, which is where it ended. Going into the 4th today, it was 1-1 between the Doors and the Mariners. 2 runs for Harwich. Made it 3-1, which is where we stand right now. Alstrom misses outside. 2-0.
Didn't miss by much. He's just barely missing the outside black with his fastballs. He's going to have to come in to Winkel.
Wind blowing out to left field. Fedko, a primarily pull hitter, had a triple. So said the Cape League scorer his last time up. Alstrom missing high.
Or so they claimed.
Yeah, what viewers at home might have missed, Danny went up to the press box and was bullying the Cape League scorer, but
it's not bullying if they deserve it.
But they didn't waver. I mean, your intimidation clearly needs some improvement. Alstrom from the stretch. Beautiful pitch, but it just missed. Loads the bases, and Harrington and Alstrom can't believe it. Mariners want some more here in the 6th inning. Bases juiced. Nobody out.
Yeah, Alstrom running into some trouble. Had a infield single that he gave up to Ludwig and then walked Winkel. So a couple of batters where he didn't really get beat. Now he's got his work cut out for him. Could really use a strikeout and a ground ball. And Fedko is up to the plate, who's been pretty solid. He had that triple, that RBI triple off the glove of Deloach out in center. No, I did not go up and berate the scorer, contrary to David's claims.
So that was Winkel who moved on with a walk, and Fedko now up, and he scored the third run of the game for the Mariners. Fouls off the first pitch he sees. Falmouth bat boy got some wheels. Got over to that ball right in front of us. Ahlstrom with the hanging left arm with a long look into Sean Harrington. He's got the glove right below his chin. He's still looking in. He looks over towards third, agrees on a pitch. Sets in the stretch with the bases juiced. Kicks the right leg and delivers. Off speed. Tried to get Fedko to chase, but he wouldn't bite. 2-1.
Looks like Ahlstrom's just trying to be a little too cute. He's trying to hit the corners a little too fine. Comes down to a point where you've got nowhere to put Fedko. Just got to give him something to hit. Try to keep it low. Try to force a ground ball. Infield is in, so they'll come home with it.
Ahlstrom looks like he's trying to get a K here. As you mentioned, the infield playing on the grass. This one flared into right center field. It'll drop for a base hit. Weimer comes in to score. Holding up at third is Ludwig. So every runner moves 90 feet. It's now 4-1 Harwich in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Things just kind of falling apart for Falmouth. They're not giving themselves much of a chance at the plate, and then now they're making it even tougher on them when they come back up in the 7th with the bases still loaded. Ahlstrom looked perfect in the 5th, then gave up a hard single to Weimer, infield single to Ludwig, a walk to Winkel. Those walks will always come back and hurt you, and now Fedko beats him.
Brian Dempsey, the 9-hitter, singled his last time up to score Fedko. That was the second to last batter that Sam Strickland, today's starter for the Commodores, saw. Swings at the first pitch onto Cantrelle. It gets through his legs. Ludwig scores. Coming around to score is Winkel. It's 6-1 Mariners.
So lets the bats not pick up the pitching, and now the pitching start to fall off a little bit. So does the fielding, as everything has pretty much run dry for the Doors. The bats not getting anything. Ahlstrom's pitching, which was perfect an inning ago, now is starting to let up harder struck balls. And then Cantrell's glove doesn't help him out either. So all three main facets of the game have pretty much disappeared for Falmouth.
Still nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Now double-digit hits for the Mariners. Harwich, a team that had Falmouth's number last year, winning all 4 matchups. They swept a doubleheader on the 17th of June, so 364 days ago. Harwich then won 4-1 on the 21st of June here at White House Field. Last matchup of the year was on the 20th. That was also a 4-1 Mariners victory. Harwich trying to move to 3-0 against the Commodores this season. 2-1. Leadoff man in Cam Thompson is at the plate. Ahlstrom from the stretch. Moving was Brian Dempsey, but it's fouled back. Fedko stands on third, Dempsey on first. Still a long way to go in this half inning, or so it feels, with nobody out and runners on the corners. Ahlstrom has thrown 30 pitches now. Caught off the bag is Dempsey. Casparius tags Dempsey, trying to make a play over at third base is Casparius, but sliding back in is Fedko. What a wild play that was, and it's an unconventional way to get the first out.
Yeah, so how about that for a pickoff move from Ahlstrom? We've seen a ton of great pickoff moves against the Commodores from lefties, even a righty. They've been picked off twice off the bag, once today and then a couple games ago. And now Ahlstrom gets one. That's the first pickoff move that is successful for the Doors in 2019.
Thompson, a 1-1 count, 1 out, and now 1 runner on. He stands at third. Ahlstrom will stay in the stretch, kicking the left leg a little bit and delivering. Harrington again, keeping a ball in the dirt in front of him, 2-1. Thompson taps the plate with the head of his bat, adjusts the brim of his helmet, swings, and slices it back. 2-2.
It's pretty much strikeout territory right here for Ahlstrom. You don't want to get a ground ball because with the infield in, it's pretty much got to be directly at one of your fielders in order for them to look back the runner at third. Don't want to have another error either, but with 2 strikes and 2-2 count, go for the strikeout right here. Try to get 2 outs.
Off speed. Didn't get Thompson to chase. It's 3-2.
That was a great pitch, too. Had a lot of break. Broke maybe a little bit too early as the ball kind of settled right around on the plate is where Harrington caught it. Great eye from Thompson not to go after it.
Ahlstrom quickly decides on the pitch, lowers his head, kicks, and delivers. Back towards Ahlstrom, off his glove. Trey Cruz has it, tries to look back the run, but it will score. Throw on to first for the second out. No chance for Cruz at the plate. Fedko scores. It's 7-1 Harwich.
So that's a 1-6-3 putout and an RBI for Cam Thompson on the ground out. Would have been a line out had Ahlstrom's arm maybe been an inch or two longer. Hits off the tip of his glove. And how about Harwich? Doing what the Doors couldn't back in the second inning. Harwich has bases loaded, nobody out, and they score all 4 runs.
That's a good point, Danny. Very good point.
Meanwhile, Falmouth could only get 1.
First pitch from Galland. He swings at Harrington. Moving back, and he makes another play behind the plate to end the inning. Galland swings at the first pitch and goes down by way of the flyout for the 3rd time today. Harwich more than doubles their lead. They're up 6 on the Doors. Final frame coming up on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry. Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgent care.
Final chance for the Commodores. They need 6 runs to push this to the bottom of the 7th inning. Otherwise, they move to 2-3-1. Danny, a lot of games going around the Cape League. What's going on?
Everybody's got a doubleheader on this fine Sunday, June the 16th.
Heflin missing high and outside to Cantrelle.
Yarmouth Dennis, they defeated Coutts at home 7-2 in Game 1. The Brewster Whitecaps finally got their first victory of the season. They defeat the Hyannis Harbor Hawks 11-5. Strike number 1 paints the outside corner to Cantrelle. So Hyannis still winless. Brewster gets there first. Of course, we know Harwich beat Falmouth 1-0, and Orleans shutting out the Bourne Braves 9-0.
This one lifted into shallow right field. Making a play is Christian Fedko for the first out.
Now, one that we missed is Chatham Anglers and the Wareham Gatemen. They only started game number 1 just recently. They've still got another game to be played. 4-0 in the lead is Wareham over Chatham in the top of the 4th. We look ahead to game 2 everywhere else. Coutts and YD tied up at 0. Am I missing something?
Heflin to Cruz. This is a fly ball on the infield. Heflin's going to come off the mound, but Winkel makes the catch. Yeah, I don't think your screen has updated. So those first 3 scores that you said were final.
Okay.
Yarmouth Dennis giving Coutts their second loss of the year, 7-2.
Yes.
Brewster, 11-5 win over Hyannis.
I love point streak.
Orleans 9-0 against Bourne. Wareham did win game 1 against Chatham 5-0.
And then now
Yarmouth
into
Dennis
second games.
is a couple innings away, or excuse me, they're in the 7th, so they are a few outs away from giving Coutts their second loss of the day. Langworthy watches the first pitch.
So that would be good for Falmouth if both teams get swept.
Right.
Nobody moves.
Brewster about to sweep Hyannis as well, who would move to 0-5-1.
Tough.
And Orleans and Bourne tied up in the fourth out at Durand Park. 2-1 now the count to Langworthy.
Brewster came into today, no wins. Hyannis also no wins, so somebody was going to have to get their first wins. Brewster leading 7-3, and Bourne tied up at 1 with Orleans. Orleans has been a pretty good team.
They have indeed, second in the East Division right now as Langworthy fends off the 1-2 to stay alive. Commodores down to their final strike, so the Anglers lead the East Division, which is very tightly packed right now. Anglers at 4-2, and Coutts 4-2, about to move to 4-3 if Yarmouth Dennis can hang on. Swing and a miss, strike 3. This game ends in strikeout fashion, and Danny, that's a fitting way for the Commodores to go down on a day that they want to put in the back burner as quick as possible.
Way, way far behind them. This is one where hopefully we'll be looking back at it and saying, man, remember that Falmouth team when they just couldn't stop striking out? And that's kind of what happened last year is when they fell behind early on. They fell to 2-8. They went on a 6-game losing streak. It was like, what is wrong with this team right now? They just can't hit anything. They really couldn't put runs across. That's kind of how it feels right now. There's still a lot of time. There's still a lot of room to improve for Falmouth, still adapting to those wooden bats. But again, it's been the strikeouts. It's something about these bats, something about the Harwich pitching and the Hyannis pitching where they cannot seem to even put contact on the baseball. They muster all of 1 run in these 2 games, 1 run over 14 innings, 1 run all of today. They were only able to put up 2 runs yesterday. It's really been a tough last couple of days for the Commodores, who, put up 9 against Hyannis just a few days back. So we know that they have the offensive prowess in them, but today just not so much.
I'm going to give you a tough task.
Go for it.
Find me a couple bright spots from today.
Bright spot's Jackson Coutts. I think he had a really solid game. He got hit by a pitch in the second inning, came around to score. He had a hard-struck single in the 5th. He was a guy who didn't really get too many chances early on. He was finding the bench a lot, maybe a couple pinch hit spots, but then he gets a start at DH in game number 2, and he looked really solid. And I think the pitching was really good. I think the pitching was awesome. Sam Strickland looked really good. He ran into a little bit of trouble. He was tabbed with a couple earned runs that he really didn't deserve. He should have a no ERA because the 3 runs that he allowed really should have been unearned. One of them was unearned. And then in game number 1, pitching was pretty solid as well because, heck, they let up only 1 run. It was really only 1 mistake from Noah Thompson out of Lipscomb on a home run from Joey Weimer. They lost 1-0. So the pitching was pretty solid, save maybe in this last inning, the 6th inning, where Harwich was able to pour on 4 runs. But all in all, the starting pitching was really good for the Commodores.
Harwich moves to 3-3 on the year. Falmouth, after being the last undefeated team remaining on the Cape, has dropped 3 straight. They're 2-3-1 now on the season. On deck for the Commodores tomorrow, they'll play at home against the Wareham Gatemen on try number 3 after a couple of rainouts. Losing pitcher in today's game is Sam Strickland. Winning pitcher is Evan Shaver. Harwich scores 7 runs on 10 hits, no errors. Falmouth, 2 errors, 1 run, and 6 hits. That'll do it for us from White House Field. Thanks for joining in to YouTube Live. Commodores lose both games, 1-0 in game 1, 7-1 in game 2, but they'll be back at it tomorrow, and we'll see what the Doors have in store. For Tony Bianco, for Danny LaRose, I'm David Korzanowski, saying so long until tomorrow night, where your final score is 7-1 Harwich. You've been listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.